Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you are in the world when you're listening to this audio file. Jam and Jerry here. We're going to install Eloquence on a Galaxy 4 watch. One warning I'm going to give you before we even get started is you want to make sure you follow each step exactly. You're also going to see me following my own advice. I'm going to be following the text file that I helped edit because while I've done this a couple times, I still want to make sure I'm following every step because I don't have it completely memorized just yet. What you are going to need is an installer that is in the, if you're part of the blind Android users group, there's a basically installing it's a zip file that will have ADB. It's an installer, and it should have the text file that I helped edit, and it should have eSpeak. Now, we're not going to use eSpeak. We're not installing eSpeak because I don't like it. We're going to install Eloquence. You're not going to find Eloquence in the zip file because the Eloquence is one you had to have purchased before they took it away from the Play Store, and it's still in your library like it is mine. But if you do have it, you can follow along. So let's go open the text file.
H Android. eSpeaker Eloquence on Galaxy 4 Watch 3. H Android stuff eSpeaker Eloquence.
Now, one thing I am going to do is I'm going to copy my Eloquence file to the ADB folder before we even get started.
E.app 2, ETI.app 3 of 4.
Okay, there it is. So I'm going to copy it.
Copied. This PC, devices and drives, this PC, item. Add 2 of 12.
So ADB, when it installs, it should be in the root of your C drive.
C app, items view multi-select list box, not select pasted, ETI.app 4 of 5.
All right, there we go. All right, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is, before I start doing anything, I'm going to go ahead and go to the ADB. I'm going to get into a command prompt, and I'm going to at least get into that folder. Now, is that out of order? Yes, because I've already installed ADB. I've also already put the Eloquence APK file into the ADB folder. So I've already done some of that ahead of time.
www.
So I'm at the run dialog box, I'm typing CMD. I'm going to press enter.
Microsoft Windows version 10.0.19044.1415. See Microsoft Corporation. All rights reserved. See users Jammy. See Windows System 32.
So what I need to do right now is I'm going to do CD /
C.
And press enter. You'll hear it say C. So now I'm going to type CD space ADB. That's Alpha Delta Bravo. I'm going to press enter.
C app.
All right, so I'm where I need to be as far as ADB is concerned. Let's go ahead and go open that file that talks about how to do, how to install this.
C app, H Android stuff eSpeaker. Guide to installing eSpeak or Eloquence on it. Guide to it.
All right, there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and just look for step 1.
We will H, but all blank. We will not be phone blank. ** least because Siri * blank 1. Install app setup 1.3.x by pressing either the application key if your keyboard has it, or if it doesn't by pressing Shift + F10 and selecting Run as administrator. 2. You need to reply to all questions with yes. 3. After everything is installed, copy file e.app to folder C app where app and fastboot were installed. If you are going to install Eloquence, make sure you put your Eloquence file here as well. Blank. ** note ***.
Now, if you notice in the text file, I actually made some notes, and I made sure that they stick out by putting ***, note ***, and or it might even say important note. Make sure you read these.
If you are installing Eloquence, please make sure your Eloquence file has the file name of eti.app. Note the capitalization as that is what we will use in the command line. *** end of note ***. Blank. 4. On your watch, go to settings.
All right, so here's where we start messing with the watch now. And I hope you guys will hear the watch okay. You should, but you never know with these recordings. So I'm going to wake it up.
10:43 a.m. Steps 613. Steps 613. Double tap to activate.
All right. Give me just one moment here, folks. I'm just trying to bring up the quick thingy here. And
daily activity, tile 1. Double tap and hold.
That's not what I wanted.
Daily activity, tile 1.
No.
Quick
Come on.
panel. Page
There we
1
go.
of 3.
Okay, so what I
Double
brought
tap
up
and hold to edit buttons.
what I brought up was the quick panel, and I'm looking for settings.
Bluetooth on. Battery 49%. Bedtime mode, off. Turn off, button. Settings, button.
All right,
Double tap to activate.
let's go in here.
Settings. Settings, heading, in list.
5. Go to About Watch.
All right, so now we need to look for About Watch.
Connections.
And this sometimes...
Notification.
There we go.
Sound. Samsung Help. Battery. Apps. General. Accessibility. Security. Privacy. Location. Account and backup. Software update. Tips and tutorial. About watch. Double tap to activate.
5. Go to About Watch.
Okay, so that's where we're going to go. We're going to double tap.
Settings. About watch. Heading. In list.
6. Go to Software.
Now we're looking for software.
Galaxy Watch 4 M7. Model number. SMR. Serial number. IMEI 300. Storage. Device. Legal info. Software.
And we're
Double
going to...
tap to activate.
Yep, we're going to double tap.
Software. Heading. In list.
7. Swipe down until you hear software version and the whole string of numbers.
Okay, so we're looking for software version, blah, 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 blah.
One UI watch version. Software version R875 USQU1DUJC.
8.
Double
Double
tap
tap
to
this
activate.
several times until your watch says something along the lines of developer mode on or now you are a developer.
All right, so now we're going to double tap this several times.
Developer mode turned on. Software version R875 USQU1DUJC.
So look,
SMR875 UZGATMB. In list.
so it looks like you double tap
Double
it
tap to activate.
5 times, if I counted correctly. You heard each click when I double tapped. So now we're a developer. That's what we want.
9. Keep pressing the back button until you are at the root of the settings screen.
All right, so now we need to get to the root of settings.
Looking for this. In list. Settings. About watch. In list. Double
10.
tap to
You
activate.
should start be sitting on About Watch, so swipe left a couple times until you hear developer options. If
Okay, so we'll swipe left until we hear developer options.
Tips and tutorials. Software update. Developer options.
There it
Double
is.
tap to activate.
We're going to double tap.
Developer options. Developer options. Heading. In list.
11. Please make sure you enable the following 2 options. Add debugging.
So the first one we need to look for is ADB debugging. We need to make sure it gets enabled.
Off. Switch. Stay awake when charging. Developer option. Off. Switch. Stay awake when charging. Off. Switch. Bluetooth snoop logging. Off. Switch. Vibrate on connectivity chain. Off. Switch. ADB debugging.
Okay, there it is.
Service. Updating. Double
no-
tap to activate.
Notice it said it's off, so we need to turn it on by double tapping.
ADB debugging. Are you sure? Out of list. Cancel. Image. Yes. Image. Cancel. Are you sure? Cancel. Yes. Image.
We're going to hit
Double
yes.
tap to activate. Developer options. On. Switch. ADB debugging. In list.
Wi-Fi
Double
debugging.
tap to activate.
Now the next thing we need to activate is Wi-Fi debugging. So let's continue swiping to the right until we get to Wi-Fi debugging.
Off. Switch. Debug over Bluetooth. Off. Switch. Debug over Wi-Fi.
And there it
Double
is.
tap to activate.
That's the debug over Wi-Fi. So we need to turn that on.
Blank. Star star note star star. After you have turned on the Wi-Fi debugging, let your watch sit on this option for a few seconds. Before you leave this area, please make note of your watch's IP address. You may have to swipe back and then forward it.
All right. So we're going to be looking for the watch's IP address now because it would have obtained one from the Wi-Fi. So I'm going to swipe to the left and then swipe to the right.
Off. Switch. Debug over Bluetooth. On, switch, debug over Wi-Fi, FE80-180D83FF FEFD EF1 5555. 192.168.1.42, 5555.
Okay.
Double tap to activate.
So we need to make note of that IP address. 192.168.1. And I already forgot. So let's make note of it real quick. Let's listen to it one more time.
Off, switch, on, switch, debug over Wi-Fi, FE80-180D83FF FEFD EF1 5555. 192.168.1.42, 5555.
All right, so it's .42.
Double tap to activate.
So again, 192.168.1.42. We need that IP address. So now that we have it,
Revoke debugging authorizations.
I'm going to try keeping this watch awake, because when I go to connect to it, we're going to see something pop up on the watch.
As it takes a little bit. Wi-Fi debugging on, but when you swipe back and then forward to hear this, your watch might take a few seconds before it actually sets start blank 12. On your computer, press Win plus R and type CMD and then press Enter. You should be at a command prompt.
Now, see here where it's talking about going to the command prompt and going to ADB and stuff.
Double tap to activate.
H Android stuff at C Windows system.
We've already done that. So now what I'm going to do...
Guide to INS 1314. Verify that your command prompt says C apt, and if so, you will perform the following command. Add connect watch IP, for example, your command...
So we're going to type, and yes, I keep messing with my watch, but I have a reason for this. And you might want to do it too. Make sure your watch stays awake.
Add connect watch IP for connect. Add connect left parent watch IP right parent.
So we're going to type...
Guide to installing East. C Windows System 30.
We're going to type ADB space connect space 192.168.1.42. I'm going to make sure my watch is still awake. Okay, it is. So now that I've typed that, I'm going to press enter on the computer.
Star Demon not running. Starting it now on port 5037 star. Star Demon started successfully star.
Allow debugging. Allow debugging. Heading in list.
Now this is where you want to be very careful. I've actually messed up my watch to the point where I had to reset it.
Cancel. Okay. Always allow from this computer.
Now,
double tap.
Notice I had to swipe past OK to get to that, but you want to double tap always allow from this computer. You want to double tap that before you double tap OK.
Developer options. Revoke debugging authorizations in list.
As you notice, I didn't even have to double tap the OK button. I double tapped always allow from this computer, and it just took it. So now that we're done doing that, let's just make sure it took. We're going to type ADB space devices. DEVICES. Press enter.
List of devices attached. 192.168.1.42:5555 device. See add.
All right. So we have, and I do apologize for all the sounds. That's actually Telegram in the background. So the watch is now connected to the computer. So now let's go back over to our instructions on what we need to do. And I'm going to skip down to where it talks about Eloquence and not eSpeak, because I'm not installing eSpeak.
Guide to installing. Add connect 190 blank. Star note star. This is just a suggestion, but if I were you, before pressing enter on your keyboard, wake up your watch so you can see the face.
See, as you see, I tell you to make sure that your watch is awake before you press enter to connect for that very reason.
Should get a device star end of note star blank 15. Your watch will pop up a dialog box that asks if you blank. Star very important note star. Make sure you follow the prior step exactly. This is what caused my watch to no longer allow me to get into settings. I just pressed OK. Again, we don't know if it was just a fluke, but if I were you, I would ask things star blank 16. If you are installing eSpeak to add, press enter and wait for 17. If you want to install Eloquence, type the following command exactly.
Okay. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a tip here. Notice I said type it exactly. Yes, that's what you're supposed to do. I don't think I could remember this command long enough.
Add push eti.app/guard/.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that line.
Selected. Add push eti.app blank unselected. Space unselected. Slash unselected. Slash selected.
Make sure I select that slash. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit copy.
Copied.
I'm going to go back over to the command prompt that has ADB.
See Windows System 30.
I'm going to hit paste.
Pasted. Add push eti.app/guard/.
And then I'm going to press enter. And I'm going to use my JAWS cursor to see if anything's happening here.
JAWS to PC. Land. C at bat push eti.app /start/. Land. PC.
So notice it hasn't said anything yet.
PC. Land.
It's like it's still doing it.
273 KB /S 9,804,928 bytes and 35.024s. C app.
Okay, so that's what'll happen. I did not make it read that. That's what'll happen. It can take about that long to install. It's not exactly the fastest thing in the world, so you want to wait until your computer says something along those lines. I don't know if the 35 seconds that mine took would be the same as yours. Yours could be a little quicker. Yours could be a bit slower. But there you go. It will tell you when it's done.
Guide to installing.
Let's go back over to the text file.
Add put.
Let's go to the next step.
Press enter and wait for a little bit of time for it to 18. If you want to install SBAC, type the add the install press enter and wait for 19. If you want to install Eloquence, type the
Okay. So again, I'm skipping the eSpeak stuff and I'm only looking at Eloquence. So again, I have to type this line exactly.
Add the install eti.app.
And I'm not gonna. Again, I'm just gonna copy it.
Selected. Add dash e blank unselected. K selected.
Copy.
Copied.
Go over here.
See Windows System 32.
And I'm gonna hit paste.
Pasted. Add the install eti.app.
And then I'm gonna hit enter. And again, we're just gonna wait until it's done. Again, this can take just a little bit of time. I do apologize for the silence, but I don't want to edit this so you can hear about how long it takes. It will tell us just,
300 KB /S 9,804,928 bytes and 31.836s.
Now that everything's done going off in my house for 1 hour chimes, except for that was Twitter. As you heard, it is done. I'm going to let you hear that line again just because I think things were talking in the background. I just want to make sure you heard what it said. So I'm going to route JAWS to PC.
JAWS to PC.
I'm going to go up.
Land.
Up.
Success.
Up.
300 KB /S 9,804,928 bytes and 31.836s. Success.
Okay.
PC. C app.
So now we're done. We are
Guide to
done
install.
with ADB.
Add the install eti. Press enter and wait for this to land. Regardless of which synth you installed, when success message is shown on your computer, you are done. On your watch, you can now.
All right. So now I'm going
Windows.
to.
C app. JAWS land. C app app disconnect.
So I typed ADB space disconnect and pressed enter.
Land. C app.
And I'm
PC.
pretty sure it did it. Let's just make sure. This step was not in the text file, and I do apologize for that. But that is what I would do if I were you, is do an ADB space disconnect to make sure you disconnect from your watch. So let's make sure it's disconnected. Again, we're going to type ADB space devices.
List of devices attached. See app.
Notice there's nothing there. It's not showing us that anything's attached. So we can go ahead and exit out of the command prompt now.
Guide to it.
Now, before you do anything else, before you try to switch to Eloquence, you could switch to Eloquence and then do this step, but I wouldn't want you to forget to switch, or not switch. I wouldn't want you to forget to do this step. So I would just suggest doing this step first.
11:02 a.m. Developer options. Revoke debugging authorization.
So
Double tap to activate.
I'm still in my developer options. If you're not, please get back into your developer options and go to where it says debug over Wi-Fi.
On, switch, debug over Wi-Fi.
And turn it off.
180D.
Let's make sure mine took. I'm waiting because the watch is being really sluggish at the moment. It's being real sluggish.
11:03 a.m.
Oh, it's because it shut off.
On, debug over Wi off switch debug on switch debug over Wi-Fi FE8018
Now it should be off, but I'm going to double check.
off switch debug over Wi-Fi.
All right, so it is.
Tap to activate.
So it is now off. You want to turn that off just so that no one can ever get into your watch. No one, not only that, it could drain battery a bit faster. So just, turn that off because you don't need it. So turn that off before you go doing anything else. Now that we've turned off the debug over Wi-Fi, let's go switch to Eloquence. We're going to hit the back button.
Settings. Developer options in list. Double tap to active. Account and backup. Double tap
Time you switch to the new synth. It could take several seconds for it to blank. Time regardless of which synth.
Okay, so now we're going to go.
Location.
Come on.
Privacy. Security. Accessibility. General.
We're going to go
Tap to activate.
We're going to go into General, and we're going to double tap.
Settings. General. Heading. In list. Touch bezel. On. Text to speech. Double tap to activate.
As you see, I'm just flicking through. We need to go to text to speech.
Text to speech. Heading. In list.
Notice I double.
Showing items 1 to 4 of 9.
Notice I double tapped it. So now we're going to go ahead and find Eloquence.
Preferred engine. Google Speech.
Actually, we're not even going
to activate.
Where it says preferred speech, we're going to double tap on that.
Preferred engine. Heading. In list.
Because we got to change it to Eloquence.
Not checked. Samsung text to speech engine. Checked. Google Speech. Radio. Not checked. ETI Eloquence TTS. Radio button.
All right, we're going to double tap it.
Tap. Using Google Speech.
Now, this could take a little bit of time for it to actually switch to Eloquence.
Not checked. Google Speech. Radio button.
And
checked. ETI Eloquence TTS. Radio button.
For some reason, this time it actually didn't switch right to it like it should have. I've actually seen this happen on the Chromecast as well. So sometimes what you may have to do...
Not checked. Google Speech.
Go back to Google.
Button. Checked.
Check Google. And then try going back to Eloquence again.
Not checked. ETI Eloquence TT. Using Google Speech.
Okay, so for whatever reason, my watch is being stupid and not switching. And it has switched in the past. All right, let's reboot the watch. Let's go ahead and reboot this thing.
Quick panel. Page 1 of 3. Bluetooth on. Quick panel. Page 1 of 3. Bluetooth on. Bedtime mode. Quick panel. Page Bluetooth on. Battery 45. Bedtime mode. Turn off. Settings.
Oops.
Settings. Turn off. Button. Turn off. Turn off. Image. Emergency call. Image. Turn off. Image. Emergency call.
Oh, come on, turn off.
Turn off. Image. Android system.
There we go. So we're going to try turning it off and turning it back on to see if hopefully that'll fix it to where it will switch back to Eloquence, or switch to Eloquence, I should say. In all honesty, when I've done this in the past, I have not seen it do this. So I don't know why it's doing it now. Probably because I'm doing a recording and it wants to make a liar out of me. So we're turning the watch back on. And hopefully, this time it will actually... Now, it may start out with Google, I don't know. But hopefully it'll switch to Eloquence.
Using ETI Eloquence TTS. Ambient service.
So
Service, service, ongoing.
So there you go. That actually did it. So if
11, 0 m.
Yeah, it's a little sluggish right now because everything's trying to load. I still say they should have put a slightly faster processor in here or something because it's still a bit sluggish at first startup because it's trying to load everything. Let's see if we have anything on the face at the moment. I mean, the screen could have even turned off on me by now.
11:09 a.m. 11:09 a.m.
There we go.
Double tap to activate.
It's still trying to load everything, apparently.
11:09 a.m. Steps. Double tap to activate.
So it's still trying to load everything, but as you saw, restarting the watch actually did fix the eloquence issue. So if your watch does what mine did when you
configuration proceeding on Gear Manager.
as you see, it's still trying to load everything. At any rate, though, if your watch does what mine did, when you try to switch to Eloquence, it says Google, and you tried it a couple times and it still doesn't switch, simply power off the watch, go into the quick panel like I did. It's a 2-finger swipe down from the top. Don't do the swipe real fast either, because if you do, a lot of times it don't work.
Transfer.
So, get into your quick panel and go to turn off and make sure you turn the watch off. Give it a few seconds when it's completely off.
Platform is running. Tap for more.
Turn it back on and you'll be good to go. As you see, mine, like I said, it's still being rather sluggish. Everything is slowly starting up. But just give your watch a bit of time. It is faster than Google's TTS. And if everything would just finish loading, I would show you. Because I don't want you hearing what it's doing now and going, oh, well, that's not faster. That's not better than Google. Actually, yes, it is. Because when you first turn on your watch and everything's trying to load, and if you try messing with your watch, Google's even worse. So I'm hoping... Let me try hitting the home button here.
Steps 613. Double tap to activate. 11:11 a.m. 1 unread notifications. Steps 6. Cloudy and 30. Battery 43. Cloudy and 30 degrees. Feels like 18 degrees. Battery 4. Heart rate 62.
My heart rate is only 62 right now? What am I, sleeping? I'm sleep recording.
Battery 11 step heart rate 62.
So there you go. That should show you it is faster than the Google TTS at responding. Hope you found this helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me, JAMMINJERRY2011@gmail.com. Or if you're in the Blind Android Users Telegram group, just feel free to put up a message. Make sure to mention me somehow so that I know it's directed at me, and I'll answer you as quick as I can. Like I said, I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening.